speaking of.
Okay, well, Dave Chappelle just recently I saw it on his Instagram, he released like a 14-minute clip of one of his comedy shows that he did. And he was going in like detail about essentially how Comedy Central robbed him of the Chappelle show. How since the Chappelle show is now streaming on Netflix and HBO, but he's not getting no money from it. He's not getting any money. He was explaining how the contracts are set up in a way where the production studios or whoever is giving you that money saying we own your likeness and all of this for basically ever. Basically, we own it forever.
So he just gets cut a check, but he didn't get like any royalties.
Didn't get any royalties, didn't get any like anything. And you know, we could go back and forth saying like that's the business. He should have known better. But he was saying like, look, I was 28, I had no money. Yeah, I had a child on the way, and I'm in a room full of people, like full of white people. And they're all telling me like this is a good deal, but they're all getting paid off of me. So of course they're gonna tell me to sign it because if I don't, no one gets paid.
There's no Chappelle show.
Yeah, no one gets paid. And so he was explaining how he wants everybody to boycott watching the Chappelle show. So whatever streaming site it's on, he said Netflix agreed to take it down. He said when he first before the Chappelle show ever came out, he tried to pitch it to HBO. And he said one thing I thought was profound, and once again goes back to the arrogance of these television execs or whatever, these white television execs. He said they could have just told him yes or no, but instead they decided to tell him what do we need you for, because they already had Chris Rock. So it's like, why do we need another joke telling nigga?
Token black guy.
Exactly, because it's like basically they told him no, but just in a very disrespectful way. But now all these years,
where are you talking about the actual Chappelle show, or are you talking about
the Chappelle show? Like he
This is recently or like at the beginning?
This was like back in 1999 or 2000.
Oh, okay. When he was doing this to begin with.
Yeah, he was going around trying to
say, what do we need you for?
He tried to pitch it to HBO. I think he tried to pitch it to Fox.
Okay.
And Comedy Central was the one who picked it up.
Gotcha.
But HBO basically disrespected him, and now years later they have it streaming on. They trying to do the HBO Max and streaming service, so they want to put it on their streaming site. He's like, it's like y'all niggas.
What do I need you for?
Yeah, exactly.
What do I need you for?
So he's asking that everybody boycotts because trying to go back, and we hear this story all the time with like black entertainers. They get they essentially just get fucked out of their money due to bad contracts, and it's like they probably get a couple bucks while they on top, but really it's like you're probably gonna live a long life. So you like in your 30s, that money runs out if you're not getting a residual income for DVD streaming, anything.
Like who thought streaming would get to this point? And look at all these old black shows. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
People that's probably been far removed from the industry forever, but they got millions being made off of their shows.
Yeah, and watching the Chappelle show today, like knowing what type of man Dave Chappelle is now, going back and watching the Chappelle show back then, it's like, he was really on one. Like he was really on one. Like the type of sketches that he had, the things that he was saying.
He wouldn't dare get away with that.
Exactly.
He said even at that time it was like,
risky.
What I'm saying? Because I remember he did his the not his last stand up. He's done a million, but it was one of his recent stand ups where he was saying there was like a specific department to where like if you don't hear from them, that's a good thing, because that means you're doing what you're supposed to do. But it's supposed to be like they're kind of policing what goes on TV for like the general audience. And he was like, then you got the Dave Chappelle show who hears from these niggas all of the time.
Right.
So even at that time, like that was the stuff that he was touching on, the stuff he was saying.
He openly knew what he was doing because he would speak on it. Like, even watching the Chappelle show as of earlier this week, it's like, in him, I didn't know about the boycotting thing. Teachers on it's shit past now, but when they take it off Netflix is when I'll start watching it realistically. However, I can see the content he was set, because I was way too young at the time to be watching that shit. Right. So now it's my time to really get to enjoy it, and the characters and the sketches, and so out of pocket. Would not fly. However, at the same time, it's like I love.
And we understand it differently.
Exactly.
Than we were at that time.
And I love the candid aspect of like, him openly talking about, I'm surprised we got another season. Like, I can't believe we made it to another show, y'all. Could you believe they let me have another show? Didn't think it would happen. Like, I love that honesty because he knows what he's doing is walking on eggshells and crossing a fine line openly, always, as your brand, and still be able to successfully do it, have quite a few seasons, let it be a long-running thing, still appeal to not only your own culture and community, because he did hit on a lot of things from our culture and our community.
For sure.
But also appealing to other people from a stand-up aspect, a sketch comedy aspect, from even going back to Living Color. I'm sure even fans of things like that are still gravitating towards a more extreme version of that.
Right.
Which, yeah, definitely ahead of its game in some ways. And aged comedy for sure. Like, it's dated. Like, you have to, it couldn't fly now.
I appreciate him for doing what he's done because he's like really opening the door and like pulling the curtain back.
Absolutely.
On like the dynamic between he didn't like racialize it, saying we black people then white people would our racialize.
He made it as clear as possible.
Right, where it's like that's
possible.
the dynamic between black people and white people, typically Jewish people, if we're gonna be perfectly honest with you, of where we're in a situation it's like we need money but we have talent. And they're like, we have money, but we have no talent.
Right.
And it's like, all right, sign this contract. We'll give you a lump sum up front. And then from that point on, we just own everything.
Right.
We just own everything.
You can't work with so-and-so.
Yeah, and we control what you can do and da-da-da. We control everything. Right. And it's like, you can't even go... Like, say our relationship doesn't work out, you can't go someplace else and do the same thing you were doing with them with us. So it's like, you're SOL. And if you even try, we'll call you difficult.
It's an extreme manipulation tactic on a high level because they essentially suck our community dry of talent. They probably get us on or purposely put us in situations where it's like, we'll just constantly be confused. They pimp us, basically. If we're in a sense, not even in a sense, they literally pimp us.
Call a spade a spade.
They pimp us.
Call a pimp a pimp.
They pimp us, and it's so deep to the point where it's like I'm coming to y'all because I need the money, and like y'all give me this contract that I don't understand. Right. It's like, okay, well here, go talk to this lawyer, but unbeknownst to me,
they can't always.
They got
these loopholes.
Yeah, they got a relationship in there. Then it's like you got a lawyer, but you need a business manager, and your lawyer probably recommend a business manager because like that's my cousin.
Right.
And it's like before you know it, it's like where the fuck is all my money at? And it's like here goes the next nigga, and he's light skinned. It's like wow.
On everything.
I mean, and gratefully he still bounced out of that.
Yeah, Dave Chappelle is my superhero for sure. He's a black.
And it's crazy to think that he turned down that $100 million to come back. But when you look at probably the stuff that he started noticing and wising up, that was probably why he was able to walk away from it.
He did that. He allowed himself freedom by not being bound to a contract into this $100 million or this big ass deal. That's amazing, sure. But for how long? It's amazing right now having that money, but first of all, how much of that money are you going to have access to? Over how long of a period of a time?
Right.
On top of how much are you going to have to deal with the repercussions and getting shit fucked over and shit out of luck? How many years after? Like your entire lifetime.
And people hate when you put that term slavery on stuff like that, but that's what it is. It's like modern slavery.
To stream the Chappelle show without paying him anything, that's essentially him working for free, or you making money off of somebody else's work for free, which is slavery.
Right.
But I mean, being devil's advocate in a way too, it's like I just said though, it's a lot of those black shows that's coming back, they probably not getting paid from that space. He's not the only one. He just probably got the biggest voice.
That's true.
To where he has a relationship with Netflix to where they care enough.
And he has a relationship with it. I feel like that's a big difference too. Like Netflix respect him enough because they also don't want to lose.
They don't want to lose
one of their specials
because they care about.
He's a regular special. He's a regular special that they have presented by Netflix that comes up at least once or twice.
They've given him $100 million.
Right. Bring it back to Monique because when Monique was having her grievances, they was like, "Man, have a nice."
That wasn't
day.
even a million.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
It's like have a nice
that's
day.
like if Flex Alexander tried to come out of nowhere like, oh, I ain't getting paid for one-on-one. Like, can y'all take that split off? Like, man,
nigga, when was the last time you got paid for one?
Exactly. Exactly. So I ain't finna praise Netflix.
Especially because these days, I will say there is a difference. Granted, I don't watch a lot of regular TV these days. However, I definitely noticed a lot more back in 2010, 2015, 2000. That era, even before then, 2008, 2015. Right. They would play more one-on-one, more half and half, more girlfriends, more stuff just on VH1, just throughout the day. Even when I started like OFL and stuff, like me and my sister, we watch half and half, we watch Girlfriends, we get our usual line of Martin, whatever, our black shows. And then, you know, that was a regular thing that you can expect every day. Now it's like you won't catch any old shows like that. There's some stations if you're subscribed to them. Right. But even then, it's like people don't know what to look for. And if they do see it, it's a rarity. Every once in a while, or not once in a while, you will more often catch a Fresh Prince marathon. For sure. Sometimes a Martin marathon on BET, VH1, whatever. Yeah. But ultimately, you're not going to catch a half and half. You're not going to catch... what was the other one? Oh, Moesha. Things like that. Parker's like Living Single. These are all a different world. Like these are all very instrumental, top foundational. Show all time. I see you try to slide. Absolutely, different world. Yes, that's my favorite. Ooh, I love it. I watched that in college too, so it was extra perfect. Like, this is so great. Like I'm in the dorms and I'm watching them.
Hey, my bad. I just realized I brought up a Martin topic and I got an FN.
Right, you got a whole ass Martin shirt. Whole ass.
Did y'all catch that and not say
that? I did catch it earlier. I caught it earlier today. Hella missed it while we were talking about the subject though.
But yeah, I just hope like people don't start like trying to praise Netflix because, like I said, it's a lot of black shows that I see all these streaming companies monopolizing this industry, and I know y'all not. There is no way possible y'all taking care of all these niggas.
They're not.
If Chappelle's complaining
they only did it for Chappelle because he's Dave Chappelle.
Right. Exactly, and like I said, he already has a.
And Martin and Will probably like the only two from them big shows who probably are actually getting like.
And I feel like Kevin Hart would probably be the only other black comic like that would be able to get that respect from Netflix because of the partnership. Because how much they've helped each other, how many specials.
If they didn't need them,
what can you do for me? Like,
that's what it's about.